Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Fifer, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Download the Wendy's app today.
Welcome in. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. See Sparky Fifer with you. Charlie Usen over there, Chicago Charlie. Coming up on today's show, Ryan Wood, Packers beat writer for the Green Bay Press-Gazette, comes up here in about 40 minutes, as he does each and every Friday at 2:40. Andy Dorr from Dorf on Sports on Sirius XM. He lives in the Phoenix area and knows all about those teams out there and is from this area, and I've known Andy a long time, so he'll join us coming up at 3:20. Plus, we will talk with Joe Bartel, Fantasy Football Friday. That's right. He'll answer your fantasy football questions every Friday, all season long, at 4:20. 4:20, Joe Bartel from RotoWire Fantasy Sports. Then at 4:40, Follow the Money with sportsbook manager Austin Herdania over there at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. A very cool segment we started a few weeks ago that I absolutely love. And what he does is he comes on and he kind of tells you where all the money is going at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. It's like, you know, if you follow any of these betting books and whatever the case may be online, they're always giving you the same information. I said, Austin, why don't we do this for Potawatomi and figure out where the people in Wisconsin are putting their money at this point? He's like, great idea. Sounds good. So he'll join us every Friday at 4:40 with Follow the Money, again, with Austin Herdania. So going to be a fun show coming up today. And there wasn't a ton of fun moments necessarily yesterday, but this was one of them.
Bowers in the 8 spot, 3 out of 8 in the playoffs. And a ground ball back up the middle, a base hit. Bowers ties the game with an RBI single in the top of the second inning. His third run batted in this postseason. And the Brewers answer back.
So this is the thing with Mr. Bowers. He's clutch, right? I mean, we had this conversation the other day on the air as far as who would you want up to bat in a big moment? Who would you want up to bat in a big moment? And I said Jake Bowers, and Charlie looked at me like I was nuts because, you know, you could have picked Churio, you could have picked Yelich, you could have picked whoever you wanted, and I came rolling out with Jake Bowers because the man has delivered all year. Forget what his normal numbers look like. I don't care. But if you're telling me in a big moment, I need a big hit in a big situation in this postseason or even in the regular season, I think I'm looking at Jake Bowers every time. So again, last night, now he didn't deliver. He had another opportunity later. He didn't deliver. But for the most part, this guy always comes through, Charlie. And this is a guy that'll probably be back on this baseball team next year. Him and Vaughn will probably be the first baseman. Oh, I don't hear you.
I think a lot of people were questioning the decision to put him on the roster over a guy like Rhys Hoskins, who's been there, done that in the playoffs, has been able to be a leader for this team even when he's injured. And now you're seeing why they decided to go with Jake Bowers instead. I don't think Jake Bowers gives that same kind of push to the rest of the lineup, but I think when the rest of the lineup is down, he seems to always find a way to step up. Last year in the playoffs against the Mets, he's the guy who hit the home run and got the team going in that last game in the series there. And then all their dreams were crushed by Devin Williams and Pete Alonso as well. But still, he was there, and he was the guy to be able to do that. And I think he's continued to do that this postseason. He was doing it for the last month when the Brewers were struggling throughout the month of September as well.
You know, the other part about this is we talk about this Brewers baseball team and losing yet again yesterday, as we all know by this point. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. I don't feel like same old Brewers. How many of you at some point uttered last night during that game or after that game or today at work, same old Brewers? How many times do you think that's been uttered around the state of Wisconsin in the last 24 hours or so? That's what I want to know. Have you found yourself saying same old Brewers again? Or is this different in your mind? Nicolay Law, talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. And I find it hard to believe that it's not same old Brewers. Great regular season, most wins in regular season history for the Milwaukee Brewers at 97. And again, they're going to exit stage left again before getting to a World Series. And again, it's going to be because of offense. This is a little different this year because of the star-studded team they are dealing with, stacked with future Hall of Famers. I think there is a good possibility that this Dodgers team may win 3 of the next 5 or 2 of the next 3 or maybe the next 2 or 3 in a row. I think all season long, everybody knew they were the best team in baseball. They just couldn't stay healthy. Everybody was hurt, especially pitching. And they just kept throwing one guy after another in there and figuring it out. Just waiting for the postseason to start. And then miraculously, this entire rotation got healthy at the same time. Offensive players were all healthy. And now you get to see what everybody would have had to deal with all year long had they been able to stay healthy. They would have won 110 games or more than that had these guys been able to stay healthy throughout the regular season. This isn't the Brewers losing to some team that has a couple of all-stars on it, and the Brewers are just, choking it away and not playing as well as they should. This is a Brewers team getting put in their place by a team filled with Hall of Famers. That is what we're talking about, folks. Now, when you look at this Brewers baseball team, Hall of Famers, depending on how this all works out for Yelich at the end, maybe Yelich, right? Maybe William Contreras if he stays healthy and continues to put up offensive numbers throughout his year. Then the rest we don't know because they're all so young. Churrio's young. I mean, you think he's super talented, but we don't know what that looks like in 10 years. Terang, Frelick, all those guys super talented. But again, you don't know. You've got proven resumes on the other baseball team. So when we get into having the conversation about same old Brewers, I think sometimes you got to stop yourself and go, really, is that what this is, though? Is this really same old Brewers? Or is this just a beast of a team that probably nobody is beating? I mean, be honest with yourself. I don't know how much you've watched of the ALCS. Do we think either one of those teams is beating this team? I don't. Maybe they win a game against them or 2, whatever. But I don't think either one of those 2 teams, Charlie, is beating this team right now.
I don't know. Both those teams and their offenses are giving me a lot more hope right now than the Brewers' offense.
It's nice not to face this pitching, isn't it?
I'll
tell you what. I'll take my
Seattle
Brewers offense.
Seattle has a pretty damn good pitching staff, too.
Toronto
has a pretty damn good pitching staff, too.
Pretty damn good and Hall of Famers are not the same thing.
No, but they're not bad.
I guarantee you, if this Brewers offense was facing those other 2, they'd be averaging more than 1 run a game. I promise you. They'd be averaging more than 1 run a game against Toronto or Seattle at this point.
Yeah, but I also don't think they're averaging the amount of runs that Toronto and Seattle are both averaging against each other. I think those offenses are extremely high-powered on both sides, too. Something that the Brewers just don't have right now.
I can't wait to see what happens, because if we get to the World Series and it's the Dodgers against whoever, and if this Dodgers team shuts down those offenses, then that's the end of the story, right? Then there is nothing more to be discussed at that point. If you found yourself saying, same old Brewers again, I think it's different this time. Nicolay Law, talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Let's go to James on the south side of Milwaukee. You're up first on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's with me, Steve Sparky Fifer. What's up, James?
Well, you know what? The Brewers were hungry during the regular season, but they're not hungry right now. It's fallen off. Playing money ball in the postseason here, it's like you just said, same old type of thing, and they're not gonna do anything else. They're going to be back. Tell you to come back next year for your swag and everything else. I mean, the Brewers could have won 100 games this year. Peralta could probably been a 20-game winner, and even could have given us more hamburgers, but they didn't because they chose not to.
James, hold on a second. Hold on.
And this team is just what it is. It's not the 82 Brewers that were the lunch pail bunch of people that came within one game of winning the whole thing.
Okay, James, let me ask you a question. You say it doesn't appear they want it. What exactly have you seen watching on TV or in person at American Family Field if you went to the first 2 games? What have you seen watching this team that you go, they don't care. They don't really want to win. They don't really want to go to the World Series. What have you seen?
I've seen you mean right now?
Yes, in this series, what have you seen on TV?
They should have been able to beat the Cubs 3 straight, not take 5 games.
No. I'm not asking you what they should do or can. I'm asking you, what do you physically see happening on the field where you're like, they're not trying. They don't care. They don't want it. Because that's what you said, that they don't want it. Well, what evidence do you have that says they don't want it?
Well, they're not. They got the pitching and all this other stuff, but they're not trying to really to make a big effort. I mean, in the regular season, they won 97 games. Okay,
yep.
That was regular season.
Yeah.
But right now, they come on up to the bar to the next level, and they're not hungry. They're not. As you see in sports, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, or whatever. You're not seeing the hunger, the attitude, the hunger, the drive, and like you see in these people's eyes of really trying and really
James.
making it.
I got to run, James. I got to get other people out. Thanks for the call. Realistically, I hung up because I didn't want to swear on the radio. I seriously, I don't understand how anybody, James or anybody else, and James isn't the only one. I've seen other people say this on social media. How do you watch this Brewers team and come to the conclusion that they don't give a crap, that they ain't trying, that they don't want to go to a World Series? What exactly do you see? Do you see them not hustling down the line? Do you see them not hustling after a ball? Do you see them committing 5 or 6 errors, just throwing balls into the stands? What is it that drives anybody to the conclusion that this team don't care? Like, I cannot figure out where this is coming from. I gave that man a chance to explain himself. But the only thing I get is they won 97 games. They should be better than this. Okay, I agree. They're the 1 seed. You're right. They shouldn't get swept as the 1 seed. But realistically, and I'd like to live in that world sometimes, maybe not all the times, but sometimes, the team is stacked in the pitching department, right? Now, hitting-wise, once you get past their first 3 or 4 guys, and then it all evens up with the Brewers. Then it's not a big deal. But the crazy part is, Ohtani hadn't beat you, Betts hasn't beat you, Freeman had a game. That's where we're at. Those 3. And after that, the rest of that lineup, hey, mano-y-mano, straight up, going across the board, Brewers and Dodgers, I'm fine with it. I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable with how we stack up with the rest of that lineup. Top 3 names and track records and resumes, yeah, they're better. But they haven't been the problem. The problem's been their starting pitching and the Brewers' bats. That's where the problem relies. If anything, James, I could argue, you ready for this? They're trying too hard. You could argue that the pressure has gotten to them and they're playing out of character because they want it so bad. You could argue it the other way. More than they don't give a crap, they don't want it. Stop. What kind of nonsense is that? I mean, think about that. Think about being that close away from your goal that you may never get to in your career again, and then going, I don't care if we go to the World Series. I kind of wanted to take a vacation to Hawaii and get this done with so I can get on a plane with my family and go to Hawaii. You imagine that? Come on, man. John in Franklin, you're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's on the Nicolay Law Talk and Text line. You can join us as well, 414-677-1250. What's up, John?
Sparky, thanks for giving me a couple seconds to get a hold of myself because my head was spinning after that last phone call.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. We can say what we want to say, but one thing we can't say about these young fellas is that they haven't played their damn asses off.
Yep.
That's how the heck they got where they were. Oh my goodness! Unbelievable. Don't say that. Yeah, you're right. I think they are trying too hard. And I really felt we were going to win yesterday going into that game. I thought Murph was going to have a talk with these guys, find a way to reach them. And I got to be honest, I'm seeing some of the same coming up short with the bats again. Not the discipline that we've seen most of the year. And of course, the guy throwing on the mound on the other side has something to do with it. But as far as is it different this time, Sparky, I made a comment months ago about long-suffering Brewers fan, and that, that's an overstatement, like half the things I say. But we've had success, and we've had good players, and we've had opportunities. I think this whole thing, as it was coming down, I felt as I looked at the other teams they were going to match up against, that they were, on paper overmatched, which doesn't really mean anything. But they played it so well for so long this year. It's just a shame that it came crashing down the way it did. But man, I'll tell you what, the Miz yesterday, I was a believer as long as he was in that game. I thought we were going to find a way, as absent as our scoring was on the offensive side.
Great. Thanks for the call, John. We'll talk more about the Miz. We got to get a quick timeout, come back. Got a lot of text messages flowing in. Want to hear from you on the phones as well. You found yourself saying same old Brewers again. We'll continue to talk about that. And if you're new to the show, let me explain to you how the show works. We try to change topics every segment. So the basis behind what we do on this show, Charlie, using my producer, and I do, when we put together our show rundown, we try to change topics every segment. So you're not stuck talking about the same segment, same topic for an entire hour and nothing ever changes. Could we talk about the team and change topics within talking about a team? Yes. But that is the idea, that you're constantly moving and changing. So if you don't like what you're hearing here, don't worry, hang out. Maybe the next segment, you'll like that a little bit better. That's kind of how we work things on this show. So just kind of giving you a heads up. So let's continue to talk about the Brewers, and we'll continue to talk about same old Brewers, but we're also going to change it up a little bit because there is a lot of talk about hitting and what really is the issue with the hitting. We'll dive into that coming up next. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Don't forget, you can now check us out on YouTube, baby. We're streaming all of our shows at WI Sports Radio, at WI Sports Radio on YouTube. Come hang out. Come watch the shows, streaming our shows live, like this one right here on Wisconsin Sports Daily. So again, at WI Sports Radio on YouTube. Hey, you can win big this October at Potawatomi. Play the Bird Bash Game Show for $50,000 in cash. Just play with your Potawatomi rewards card for entries. Prize drawings on Thursdays. Plus, your play also earns you a shot at the $300,000 December season finale. It's a Bird Bash, only at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. For more details, visit paysbig.com/birdbash. paysbig.com/birdbash. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Steve Sparky, Fifer with you. Charlie Usen, other side of the glass. Chicago Charlie producing today's show. Ryan Wood, Green Bay Press Gazette, Packers beat writer, comes up here in about 15 minutes. We'll get to a little preview of that Packer-Cardinals game coming up at 2:40. 3:20 more on the Cardinals side of things from Andy Dorfdorf on Sports on Sirius XM Radio comes up at 3:20. Fantasy Football Friday with Joe Bartel of RotoWire Fantasy Sports at 4:20. And we'll follow the money with Austin Herdini at 4:40, Sportsbook Manager at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. So lots to get to still on today's show. So we were talking there in the last segment. If you found yourself saying same old Brewers again, like we do each and every year, and I want to get to some of the text messages here before we transition into the other Brewers topic involving the Brewers' lack of hitting. You can participate, as always, Nicolay Law Talk and text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Watch us on YouTube at WI Sports Radio, WI Sports Radio. All right, some of the ones floating in here, and there are a ton, to say the very least. Let's see. This one is from the 815. No, Sparky, I don't say same old Brewers. It felt like it took so much out of them emotionally and physically with the Cubs that they're wore out. The Dodgers just dodgered. It was a good year. It feels different to me. How much you buying it, Charlie? How much are you buying that the wear and tear of that Cubs series facing the traitor kind of wipe them out? Because you hear about that all the time in football, right? You get a physical contest, say Packers-Lions, right? You get that physical contest, and then there's going to be a letdown in week 2. Now, that didn't happen this year. They came back and they beat the Commanders. But in some years, that's what happens. You get that bloodbath and then trying to get back up for the next week. That's a thing in sports.
It is, but I don't think it's really that much of a thing in this situation here. I know the Brewers played hard, but I think most of that series, it was just relying on the fact that the Cubs were going to outthink themselves. And right now, it looks like that the Brewers are trying to do that with the Dodgers, but the Dodgers are just too good of a team to outthink. They don't have Craig Counsell running that team.
Yeah.
The Dodgers aren't going to go out there and put out a random 40-year-old player to lead off instead of their star player who's hitting 8 home runs in a game. Just because they feel like that's the right matchup against a lefty player. No, they're going to go out there and run Shohei Ohtani at that leadoff position no matter what. They're going to go out there and run Mookie Betts no matter what. This is not a team that you can just outthink like it is the Milwaukee Brewers. I don't think this has to do with fatigue. This team has been fatigued all year, and they figured it out. They figured out how to win. They figured out how to make something out of nothing when your starter only goes 3 or 4 innings and be able to figure it out. This is not new for this Milwaukee Brewers team. What's new is the way that they're playing baseball, which is not how we've seen them play baseball all season long.
If it was about outthinking, I'll put my money all day on Pat Murphy outthinking that knucklehead Dave Roberts all day long. Dave Roberts was given a loaded playbook, loaded roster, and said, don't screw it up. That's what he's got to do, right? Pat Murphy is giving a roster and said, try and figure out how to make him win. Totally different. Like, Pat Murphy is not going to manage the Dodgers the same way Pat Murphy manages a young Brewers team. Totally different mindsets. Totally different ways of how you have to manage things. Scotty and Tiffany. Hi, Tiffany. She texted, the Dodgers were playing possum all season with their injuries. You are 100% right. There is no real contest. Dan in the 715, not just the Brewers, same old Wisconsin sports teams that crap the bed. There's plenty of examples in the 715, as I said. Dan, I don't know how old you are, man. I got no idea. But I'll tell you, in my lifetime, 82 Brewers, I was too young, so I'm not counting that because I don't remember that. But I've seen the Packers go to 2 Super Bowls. I've seen the Bucks win a championship. I've seen the Badgers in multiple, 3 Final Fours, including a national championship game in basketball. No need to talk about the football program. But that I've seen all of that. And even the football program, I've seen them in how many Rose Bowls and chances to win those games and stuff like that, and had a lot of success since Barry Alvarez got there. I think you could argue, for the most part, that we've had it pretty good at Wisconsin sports fans. I know we all get upset because our teams don't finish every year. They're always there, but they don't finish. I get it. I'm frustrated too. I get just as mad as you do and upset when they screw up an opportunity when you know it's going to go away. Just like I was screaming and yelling at the end of Aaron Rodgers' career, which was, the window is closing, please get aggressive. The window is closing, please get aggressive. And everybody's like, oh, Sparky, you knew eventually it was going to end and he was going to go somewhere else. And that's exactly what happened. And they never got back to another Super Bowl. And now what's happening in Milwaukee with the Bucks? Same thing. Window appears to be closing. Do not screw this up. And to the Bucks' credit, they go all in every year for the last several years. The Packers weren't doing that necessarily. You got Goody at the beginning of Jordan Love's career going all in already by getting Micah Parsons. Ted Thompson never did that. Charles Woodson was there because nobody else in the league wanted him. Literally nobody else in the league wanted the man. And he got that one. That's great. Good job. But he never went all in. Could have got Randy Moss. Didn't. That is what frustrates me and gets me mad. But as far as, watching a bunch of bad sports, at one point, we did. We had bad Brewers, bad Milwaukee Bucks, all going at the same time. Thankfully, the Packers caught fire around that same time, so that was able to distract us from the other two. But all of them playing relatively well for a long stretch of time has been what the last 20 years has been about, which is pretty damn cool, if you ask me. Okay, I've got another question for you here. We only got about 10 minutes here. Is this more about a lack of talent with this Brewers team? Or is it about more a lack of experience with this Brewers team? Because there's been a lot of talk about how bad this Brewers offense has been and so forth. And what it all means. Well, as I was watching that game last night, I realized that the key players on both these rosters, one, the Dodgers, veteran-laden team. That is what they are. This Brewers team, clearly one of the youngest teams in baseball. Similar, I guess you could say, to the whole deal with the Green Bay Packers for all these years. There was an audio clip here I'm looking for, and I cannot find it anywhere. But we were going to play this audio clip from, TBS last night, Pedro Martinez and those guys talking after the Brewers game. Do you have it over there, Charlie?
I have.
Go ahead and play it from your side then.
I got handed a stat from Underdog, and there are times where I get handed a stat, and I go, there's no way this is real. Milwaukee has 9 hits in the series. That ties the fewest hits through 3 games, the first 3 games of any series all time, with the Chicago White Sox in the 1906 World Series against the Chicago Cubs. Do the math, Pedro. That's 101 years. Actually, it's not. It's, what is that, 111 years.
It's close enough.
Insane.
111?
109.
You know what I can say about that? Is that's
119.
119.
Oh, my goodness.
It's okay.
How dominant the Dodgers pitching is being. And you can't give teams like the Dodgers extra outs, but man, they have worked their tail off to keep the Milwaukee Brewers where they are and take them all the way back to those years to actually come up with this kind of stats. The Dodgers have been great. They're fresh. Their starting pitcher seems to be the best I've seen in the last 8 years. And their bullpen, no words to describe how good they have been. And now they're also fresh because the starters have been able to go deep into the games. So the more they rest at this time of the year, the better they're going to feel going down the stretch.
I really like Pedro Martinez. I don't know if any of you all like Pedro Martinez, but I like Pedro Martinez on that show. And I'll be honest, I didn't watch Pedro Martinez or any of those games on TBS all year. So this is my first taste of that post-game show. I like Pedro. For me, there's definitely a talent difference. We talked about that, especially with the pitchers, all the Hall of Famers in this starting rotation, and then top 3 for the lineup for the Dodgers lineup. But we're talking about bats specifically. I think if this Brewers team was, say, 3 years more experienced than what they are now, right? Just fast forward 3 years, same roster, but 3 years older. Yelich may not be here. Would it matter? We'll talk more about Yelich at 3 o'clock. But outside of that, you give Terang 3 more years of experience, Frelick 3 more years of experience, Churio, Contreras, all these cats. You give them 3 more years of seeing pitches, seeing pitchers, playing games, all of that. I would be willing to bet you the offense is much better than they are right now with these guys having to go through this gauntlet of starting pitching.
Yeah, I think they're obviously going to be much better.
Because you're more experienced, you have a better idea of how guys are trying to work you and so forth, making the adjustments, not feeling the pressure of the moment nearly as much as probably what they're feeling it right now. It puts them in a much better situation, I think, Charlie.
It just sucks that we're sitting here as the best team in baseball and we have to have that mentality of, it'll be good in 3 years when they already are good.
I mean, they're good now. I'm just saying in this series, if these guys all had about 3 years more of experience, I feel like the offense would have been better.
I get it. But also in the regular season against this same team, they went 6-0. And I know the playoffs are a different type of atmosphere.
They definitely weren't facing these guys in that 6-0 stretch.
Still, at the same time, you feel like the Brewers should have had a chance in this series. And now you're sitting here all disappointed. And it feels weird to say, all right, again, let's wait for 3 more years, even though it's true. They do have a lot of talent coming up, and you are excited to see what these guys can grow to become.
No. You're misunderstanding what I'm saying. I'm not saying waiting for my day or nothing else. All I'm saying is if you have 3 more years of experience in Terang and Frelick, so instead of however many years they've played, add 3 more years of experience onto these guys, and they're in this series with 3 more years of additional MLB experience under their belt of seeing Major League Baseball pitching and facing guys, and have the experience of being in the postseason for the last 4 or 5 years compared to the last 1 or 2 years, I think it changes everything. What gives teams the advantage when you get to this point of the season, and I don't think it's any different in any professional sport, to be honest with you, right? You can have the young Oklahoma City Thunder. They're going to learn their lessons, and then they're going to get better as they go, right? It's no different, I don't think, in professional sports. When you have a young group of players and not a lot of key big-time veterans to pull these guys through and have big moments for you, it's hard to win in the postseason when you're playing that way, especially when you're playing a stacked team.
But I also,
especially that way.
I also feel like if you're looking at a team like the Oklahoma City Thunder, yeah, you can kind of put them into the same boat, but they won a championship already now.
Not that first year they didn't.
No, but
not that second year they didn't. It took them time to go through the steps, which is what I'm telling you is happening right now.
It took them 2 years with this iteration of this team basically to get healthy, and that's what put them into the playoffs, and that's what brought them to an NBA championship. This Brewers team, I think when you compare them to the Oklahoma City Thunder team, yeah, the Thunder may stumble here and they may fall down a little bit because they still are a young team that's still very early into their success here, but they won a championship already. It doesn't really matter if they stumble. They can lean back on that championship. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander can say he's an MVP in his really only second year of stardom with that team. I mean, that's a pretty big deal that this Brewers team just is not matching right now. So I don't think you can compare those two squads at this moment because OKC has a championship.
Nicolay Law, talk and text line if you want to dial it up and be a part of the show, 414-677-1250, 920. I didn't think it would be the same old this year, but it's turning out that way. They have to take the main focus off of Yelich. He can't handle it. I'm hoping this is just inexperience and we can run it back next year. Paul in Menasha. Paul, thanks for chiming in. I appreciate it. And one in the 414 Sparky, you are exactly right. They want it so bad that they don't want to let us down. They're just trying too hard. All season long, they don't think about that kind of stuff. They just played. Right now, they're not playing. They're thinking. That's right. It's absolutely right. And see, that's the thing. And that's any sport, right? You can take it to football. And you talk about a quarterback playing free. If the quarterback is thinking, that's a problem. You're not playing as free. If you're a defensive player and you're thinking about what gap I'm supposed to be plugging and this and that, guess what? You're not playing as fast anymore because you're trying to figure it out. Go back and talk to these wide receivers from 2 years ago and ask them when they didn't know what route they were even supposed to be running and were running all tentative because they didn't know if they were running the right route or not when Love would call them play at the line of scrimmage. That's not playing free. That's playing, I'm not going to say scared, but you're very, very hesitant of not knowing what you're supposed to be doing. So I do think there is some of overthinking maybe going on. And like I said, I think there is definitely pressing going on as well. 414, Tony in Oak Creek. Gentlemen, I can't help but think about how much analytics might be wrong when it comes to hitting. Pitching, it might work, but what would give to have a two or three guys in that lineup that hit 300 or better on a consistent basis, like the 82 Brewers, Tony in Oak Creek? Tony, my man. They're like second in baseball in batting average. I mean, that's not the issue. This isn't 82. You don't have as many of those guys like that. But in this iteration of Major League Baseball, this team hit the ball in the regular season, right?
They do. Coincidentally, we have Tony on the call line as well.
I
Tony
just read his text.
I don't know if this is the same Tony for sure.
All right. Tony in Oak Creek, you're next on the Nicolay Law Talk text line. Did you text in, Tony? Did I just read your text?
I did not text in.
Oh,
I
good.
called in because, part of the thing that I heard, I was riding out to a job, and I was listening to the earlier shows talk about the reason that I think we're struggling so much, besides the fact that we're facing top echelon pitching. Snell didn't pitch for the first part of the season.
Correct.
Ohtani didn't start pitching through until halfway through the season, and then what was the guy that we saw last night? I can't remember his name.
Glasnow also hurt.
Yeah, he was out for the first third. So we're facing like way fresher pitching. Yes, Freddie's amazing. Yes, Miz, he had his ups and downs. He's still young and has a lot of growth to do. But Priester, all the guys that we're throwing out there, they've been pitching all season.
Yep.
And we're taxed now. And to be honest, like minus the 6-0 game that we had, we've played competitive baseball. We've not hit well, but we're facing fresh, top tier, top echelon type pitchers who, are going to be, if they would have pitched all season, would be Cy Young candidates. They're great pitchers. I haven't honestly, personally, have not watched Ohtani pitch. We'll see what happens tonight. But he doesn't needed to. We can't hit their starters. So hopefully we can get him out of the game and start hitting that bullpen, which is one of their weaknesses.
I was so happy when they got to that bullpen in the sixth last night. I was like, finally success. We finally got to the bullpen in the sixth, and then it still didn't matter all that much at the end of the day.
I was encouraged by Perkins when he came in for Churio, when he pulled his hammy.
Yep.
He saw 4 or 5 pitches, and he came in with 2 strikes already. I want to see that patience that we've had all season long, that we had during the Cubs, the Cubs series, that we can go ahead.
All right, folks, welcome back into Wisconsin Sports Daily. I am Charlie Usen. We are live here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Steve Sparky Fifer will be right back. When he comes back, he will get on here to talk with our guy, Ryan Wood. But first, here I will fire the open for him.
What's the latest on the Pack? Let's go inside the locker room with Packers beat writer Ryan Wood of the Green Bay Press-Gazette on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan.
All right, here we go. Our guy, Ryan Wood, joins us now. Sorry about that, Ryan Wood. I was pulled in by one of our other stations to do a segment. They said that was going to take 2 minutes. And I come back and Charlie's talking on the radio. So clearly it took more than 2 minutes to record something.
Hey, I'm glad you're okay, because I was really concerned when the Goo Goo Dolls just kept playing.
And over and over and over.
And I was like, oh boy, we're setting the mood here. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's what happened. So I apologize to everybody listening that whatever that was that happened while I was out of the studio happened. Ryan Wood, Green Bay Press-Gazette, joins us now here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Guest hotline powered by Gruber Law. Mr. Ryan Wood, let's first start off talking about Packer injuries. Tell me, Christian Watson, are we going to see him on Sunday?
I don't think anyone knows for sure outside the building. I would not be surprised. If you had to hold me to an answer, I would just purely guess yes for maybe 10 snaps. But that's the most important thing, whether it's this week, whether it's next week, whenever that is. He's not like he's coming back and playing 50 snaps. It's going to be a ramp up. So when does that ramp up begin? I could see it being this week. Christian Watson said that he wanted to stack multiple weeks together and then start that ramp up. Well, we know that he had a smattering of team reps last week in his first practice week when the practice window opened. He's had more this week. It's multiple weeks. So we'll see. But I'm not going to tell you I have any real indication one where it's up in the air.
You know, the other part about this is not only do you have the Christian Watson thing you're looking at, but then you've got other guys that are dinged up too. I would assume Josh Jacobs is fine, and we will see Josh Jacobs this week, even though last check I thought he was questionable.
Yeah, he's playing. He'll play. I saw Josh Jacobs in the locker room Wednesday, and you know that look that people have when they wear it on their face when they're not feeling well.
Yep.
He had that look. He walks past me. I asked him, "How you doing?" He's like, "I'm kind of getting through it," you know. And we've all been there. But he played remarkably well, feeling this way, and even worse that he felt Wednesday against the Bengals. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't be able to play against the Cardinals.
Talk with Ryan Wood, Green Bay Press-Gazette, Packers beat writer. Follow him on Twitter at @ByRyanWood here on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. See Sparky Fifer with you. The other person that I'm concerned about is Zach Tom. Never been a big fan of hearing somebody tell me he doesn't remember a whole half of football because he was in so much pain. And then to think they're probably going to run him back out there again with that oblique injury. I thought it was a bad idea, them forcing him to play with this oblique injury. And I'm even more in the camp of forcing the man to play if he's dealing with that much pain.
Well, it's clear that what they're trying to do is nurse him through the week and get him ready for Sunday. And he's the type of veteran that can do that. You know, it does obviously come down to a pain tolerance threshold, but who knows if this is something that gets better with time or not. The fact that he's taking it easy during the week, they're hoping that is enough for him to play on game days.
You know, the other part about this with this Brewers team going into this game against Arizona is obviously the quarterback situation for the Cardinals is up in the air. You're not really sure what you're going to see there. But for me as a fan going into this thing, and we'll have the Green Bay football post-game show on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network starting at 6:30 on Sunday night, 6:30 to 8 o'clock, is how much of a pass rush can they get up front? That has been a talking point, specifically what happens once you get to the fourth quarter and when things seemingly come unglued for this Packers defense. Can it be a consistent pass rush for 4 quarters?
You know, the thing is, it is a consistent pass rush for 4 quarters. It's just not equating to sacks because quarterbacks have the blueprint now. They know they can't hold on to the ball. And you hear all the time from assistant coaches on the defensive side, hey, it's not all about the sacks. Pressures matter too. You see where this pass rush is manifesting statistically. The Packers are allowing an average of 5.5 yards per pass this season, a full half yard better than second place Atlanta. There's only 8 teams in the NFL within even a yard with at least 6.5.
Wow.
Teams do not have time to throw deep at all. That 5.5 number, by the way, if that held throughout the course of the season, it'd be the single best yards per pass allowed average since the 2009 Jets allowed 5.4. And I understand the Jets are an atrocity, right? The Jets had the best defense in the NFL in 2009. So it's a misnomer to say that the pass rush isn't very real. That 5.5 number is a direct correlation to the pass rush and the fact that the blueprint is out. You cannot hold on to the football. You have to get rid of it. And you're seeing a ton of checkdowns. Now it's on the Packers to adjust, obviously, to make sure that they don't get dinked and dunked to death the way that they did at early third quarter last Sunday against the Bengals. That can't happen. But that pass rush is still very ferocious.
I understand that the pass rush may be ferocious and everything is fine. But this is the one thing that I will say about this Green Bay Packers football team right now is I think they win. I think they get this Cardinals win. And with that being said, Ryan, I got to let you roll because we're up against the break, buddy.
I'm with you. I think style points don't matter. I think Packers win.
All right, brother. Sounds good. Thank you so much. There he is, Ryan Wood, joining us here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network guest hotline powered by Gruber Law. See Sparky Fifer with you